Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you guys here. Today, I wanted to talk about something kind of important. I do have a Season of Conquest transition video out, but I wanted to go further into detail on what you should currently invest in and why you should currently invest in it. I see a lot of mistakes coming out, and I also see a lot of questions coming out, such as people asking, when should I invest in Nevsky? Is QB better? Should I go for Boudica? Or still good? Or should I go for all these questions will be answered. I got a ton of questions about stock transitions. I made a video on it and it did pretty well. I mean, it did like 20,000 views or something, and that means that the vast majority of subscribers should have watched it, but non-subscribers maybe? Anyway, point is if it takes a second video, it takes a second video. I don't mind some views, you know, that's cool. So yeah, we'll just take it from the top and we'll just go over it. First thing that we have to say is when we enter Season of Conquest, we are not an infantry main, we are not a cavalry main, we are not an archer main. There is no mains. If you started this game and you're in pre-season of Conquest, I see how you could be easily confused by the game and want to run one troop type. Because when you first start the game and you look at your pretty shiny academy, and your academy gives you one T5, you think, okay, this is my one unit, I'm going to stick to this, I'm going to build gear for this, and they're all going to complement each other. The sad fact of the matter is this is just not how it goes. Okay, once you get to Season of Conquest, you're going to need all three of these bad boys, not that one. Throwing axemen, crossbowmen, knights, and it's not going to be throwing axemen for you, it'll be like long swordsmen. Anyway, point is, you're going to need all different troop types. It's going to be really, really important. From the top, you're not going to be a main. So let's just get that out of the way. You're not an infantry main. Please, if I have sent you to this video because you have asked me, what should you invest in as an infantry main? Not an infantry main. Next on the list, we're going to talk about your basic investments. So you're going to have different investments depending on which T5 you got first and which commanders you have first. So we're going to open up, I know I'm an FTP content creator, but if you have Minamoto, Nevsky is a perfectly reasonable invest. He's absolutely awesome. The reason why we're going to talk about these next three commanders and why you should invest in these guys specifically is because of the things I'm about to show you. So over here, Nevsky is going to give you a 45% debuff. If you have at least 3 marches hitting a target, which you generally will because you're not the only person playing the game, you're going to have other people, even if you don't have a murder ball, he's going to do a 45% debuff. Scipio is going to do a 30% health debuff. So 45% defense, 30% health, and then we have a 35% skill damage taken increase debuff. This triple threat, this combination of three, the Neapolitan of Season of Conquest, is really what is going to put these guys in another level. Zhu Liang is an awesome commander, does a ton of damage. Joan of Arc, Prime, awesome commander, a lot of damage. When we talk about QB, William, XY, all these commanders are awesome because they do a lot of damage. However, they don't apply the same amount of debuffs. When we talk about Juan, Sargon, Tarek, they're great commanders. Good. Sargon's okay. Tarek is a really good commander. I also really like Juan. These commanders are really nice, and I like them, but they're not putting in the utility that these guys are putting in. So Nevsky, Scipio, Boudica, in some order, is what we're going to focus as soon as we get to Season of Conquest. A mistake that I see very, very commonly is I see people who have an expertise YSG immediately going for Zhu Liang. Now, I personally am about to max Zhu Liang. I think he's an absolutely excellent investment, just not as a first investment. You may ask why. Zhu Liang does an absolute ton of damage. He's very good on the field. He's very good. Zhu Liang primary, YSG secondary. In a situation where you may be having a 1v1 or you're not getting hit, this is exceptional. Zhu Liang YSG is probably tearing up the field and doing crazy numbers. However, if I see ZL primary on the field, I'm dusting it. And if I'm dusting it, everybody's dusting it. Because, I mean, I may pick other targets for other reasons. But if people see ZL primary, because their first thought on the field is kill the AoE so our allies aren't getting hit, right? If people are actually like really looking on the field and trying to push forward, they're trying to kill ZL as fast as humanly possible. So for example, if somebody's running a ZL Nebuchadnezzar march, right? That is one of your first marches to die immediately. The reason why the march is dying immediately is because people know it's squishy, they know it's slow, and they know it does a ton of damage, so it is a huge priority to kill. So if you invest into ZL first, it's not going to be the worst investment on the planet. However, it is going to get dusted on the field. You might get some good trades, but generally you're going to find yourself trying to haul ass repeatedly with no movement speed. You know, that's an issue. So I would highly suggest not doing this first. If you have already done this, you're not in the worst spot ever, but it's not great. Taking it from the top, if you have Minamoto, I think Nevsky is an absolutely wonderful first investment. You ain't got expertise in. 5551, Nevsky, Mina. Boom. You're transitioning to Season of Conquest, so what do you need? You need one of these bad boys. right? Boots of the Hellish Wasteland, and the rest can be purple. You don't have to overthink it. Now up here, this can be either an Expedition helm, which is the blue helm, or it can be a Pride of the Con after your first season of Conquest. But truly, as long as you've got these Boots of the Hellish Wasteland, the rest of your set ain't matter too much. Just get the boots, throw purples on the rest, and then you're good to go. Do not overthink it. Nevsky, Mina. Boom. That is a march. That's good. Nevsky is a targeted march, but not the most targeted march, and he has decent movement speed, so even if he's targeted, he's still getting away. Next, if you have YSG, you don't have Minamoto, or if you had Mina, I'm going for Nevsky immediately. I highly suggest you go for Nevsky first. He's an absolutely excellent commander, does a ton of damage, not a lot of weaknesses here. So I would say if you don't have Mina, but you do have an expertise YSG, or you don't have an expertise Mina, which is what I'm referring to here, but you do have YSG, I would consider either Scipio or Boudica. So the next thing you have to consider is, so for example, for the cavalry, if you didn't have those cavalry pieces, or you don't have Boots to the Hellish Wasteland, then you probably shouldn't be running Nevsky, right? If you can't make the minimum gear requirements for commanders, you probably shouldn't run them. If you are running archers, this is all you gotta run, right? You gotta run full epics and a legendary chest. That could be a Milky Way, or that could be a set chest. Either one is completely fine. So if you got YSG and you have decent tech and archers, running a 5-5-5-1 Boudica YSG is absolutely stupendous. Solid march. If you do not have YSG, I consider going for Scipio. Something you could do is you could run Scipio. If you have a 5-5-1-1 Mehmed, you could run a Scipio Mehmed on the field. If you don't have that, you could run a Scipio Ethelfled. Mehmed, you should not be investing universal sculptures in him. That's just assuming you have it, and then you invest the double relic in there. If you don't have the double relic in him, you can drop the double relic into Ethelfled, and she's totally cool to run as Scipio Ethelfled. I've seen the march a bunch, and it's done pretty well. At the end of the day, Nevsky, Scipio, Boudica, you should be considering, do you have Mina? You should be considering, do you have YSG? And you should be considering your gear. Above all else, you should also be considering your tech. So if pre-season of Conquest, you're an infantry main, like you probably should have been, the vast majority of people should be focusing on Scipio. Scipio's probably, I think Scipio might be the best commander in the game, full stop. He just does everything you'd possibly want, and he covers your other marches very well. He has good potential to 5-5-5-1 him, and then run him with literally anybody, like Ethelfled, Mehmed. He's not very targeted on the field. He has an awesome debuff. He has an awesome shield. He has really good movement speed. There is so much I can say about this commander. And if you're an infantry main pre-sock, you already have the tech for him. So going Scipio is always a really, really, really good choice. When in doubt, if you guys are ever wondering, like, should I do anything? You're sweating bullets over it, just run Scipio. It's cool. The biggest issue with an infantry march is that an infantry march is going to require the highest investment out of other marches. An infantry march is generally going to require you to at least, at bare minimum, have one Hope Cloak, have one infantry set helm, and to consider building a Vambraces of the Eternal Empire. You can also run sturdy boots instead. However, I prefer Vambraces because if you are getting the pick one chests from like Soroli Crisis or Ian's Ballad or something like that, and those are giving you pick one boot blueprints, if you end up building sturdy boots of the Eternal Empire, it will actually be in conflict with your Boots of the Hellish Wasteland, because you're using your pick ones and you don't want to spend too many extra gems. That is a 3-piece legendary gear set. Depending on how you're looking to Season of Conquest, that could be kind of pricey. The cheapest of these options are definitely going to be Boudica. Boudica, for me personally, I have the set piece here, but chances are you either pulled a Milky Way or you've seen one in Lutheran Scrolls. One Milky Way, all purple gear, and Boudica is done. You run Boudica YSG on the open field, you're good. Or Boudica ZL. You can even run it as cheap as Boudica 5-5-5-1 ZL at 5-5-1-1. And before you get ZL, if you don't have YSG, you could probably try and run something super cheeky like Boudica Eth, Boudica Mehmed. Would I personally suggest those? No, but if you're really down to the dumps, you got no type of gear, your account's looking real down and out, and she's good. She's like a really, really solid commander. The issue is she's going to get targeted, but she won't get targeted anywhere near as much as ZL primary. So if your allies are running ZL primaries, right, all the people didn't watch this video, should be all right. So for your average person that is getting one infantry T5 by the time they see Season of Conquest commanders, they're looking for a Scipio 5-5-5-1. Then if you have Minamoto, you're looking for a Nevsky 5-5-5-1. The reason why you want Mina here is because you're going to be transitioning to Joan of Arc Prime later, but if you don't have to transition to Prime ASAP, it means that you have time to upgrade your other marches. I would generally not invest in a Nevsky unless you're absolutely certain that you can get a secondary for him. That can be Mina, or that can be Joan. It's just his investment is going to have to come later if you don't have Mina. Scipio comes first, 5-5-5-1. I'm going to assume that you guys are serious players, so you guys have the YSG finished. Scipio, YSG. Once you finish that, depending on where your gear's at, if you have good gear for the Scipio, you can go into Scipio Mehmed or Scipio Ethelfled, and then you can run Boudica with the YSG. Then you can invest into Zhu Liang. Zhu Liang should be 5511 at Boudica 5551 and ZL 5511. You can put him on the field and he will function with this minimum gear. However, I'd probably suggest you at least bring him to 5551, and that could be a secondary to Boudica. After this, you want to expertise Scipio. Scipio's expertise is absolutely awesome. You want to have it done before you go to your third march. Why do you want to have Scipio's expertise done? Scipio's fourth ability, his expertise itself is, I mean, it's good on the field, but that's not really the main part. I realized I said it like his expertise was the part. His fourth ability is really strong. All of his abilities are really strong. The expertise is also nice, but this is huge. Being able to reduce damage taken by 30% and shielding your boys is awesome. It's just an absolutely excellent thing that he does. I really, really like it. Being able to get an expertise Scipio as your first expertise is a really good idea. At the end of our lineup, right, we've got our Scipio expertise. We've got him with like Mehmed or YSG. We've got Boudica 5551 with a ZL that's probably 5511 or 5551. And then we're looking to transition into Nevsky 5551 and Joan 5115. Then we expertise Nevsky, and then we have our 3 march. Then we're good to go. After that 3 march, you can do whatever you want. You can shit out rainbows, you can fling feces at the wall. I truly don't care. As long as you got yourself a beautiful Scipio, a beautiful Nevsky, and a beautiful Boudica with decent secondaries, you're good to go. If we're looking at something like Nevsky, because then you want to expertise Nevsky as well, you've got a Scipio expertise, a Nevsky expertise. You've got Scipio's secondary can either be Mehmed, Ethelfled, or YSG. All of those are totally fine. Mehmed should be 5511 if you're going to ever secondary him. Nevsky's secondary is going to be at bare minimum a 5115 Joan. At the upper echelon of that, you can consider a 5515 Joan. Do not expertise Joan, it is not worth it. Boudica 5551. Same, don't expertise her, does not matter. And then you'll have the ZL 5551. You could definitely consider expertising ZL though. I think it's a good idea. I'm personally going to expertise him. And finally, once you're looking at the Scipio and you're thinking, where does Guan fit into this? Guan is an absolutely excellent commander and pairs very well with Scipio because of Scipio's expertise. I think after you finish all of those investments, including the Zhu Liang expertise, then you can consider bringing in Guan as a primary at probably like 5132 is probably like acceptable to be better than Mehmed just from a utility standpoint, but eventually you want him at a 5155 in front of Scipio. Alternatively, the new infantry has not been released as of the recording of this video and has not been announced. If the new infantry is absolutely spectacular, you can consider going that instead. And then for your 4th march, you can consider either going A, QB William, B, you can go a secondary infantry march, so it could be something like Guan, Scipio, or Guan with a new infantry and then Scipio YSG. Or you could run something like maybe Henry Zhu Liang with Boudica YSG, that's also acceptable. As long as you have these main 3 marches, your 4th march can be archers, infantry, or cavalry, and you can probably get away with any of it. Just make sure you have these commanders and you transition to SOC in this specific way, and you'll be totally okay. Another reason why we're transitioning to SOC in this way that we have an archer, a cavalry, and an infantry is because when we get to armaments are going to be really, really important. As you can see, I have really good primary infantry armaments, right? My secondary infantry armaments are looking a little busted. You know, if we go over here, like this is, I don't know. I mean, this is actually not that bad, but it's not great, okay? We can do better than this. And because we can do better than this, we will do better than this, and we just won't run extra marches that we can't apply armaments to. So run an archer, an infantry, a cavalry. All your pick 1 armaments go straight into wedge, and then whatever wedges you get for each one, you just put on each one, and then you're good. That's it. That's all you have to do. That is a very, very easy 1, 2, 3, super simple, no questions needed to be asked SOC transition. If you guys are looking for personal coaching, I do coach accounts for money. $35 for a session on stream, $75 for a session off stream. If you guys are interested in that, you can go to the Discord in the description below and you can file a ticket and say, hey, I'm interested in coaching. Personally, the Season of Conquest transition is not something I would need coaching for, but I've coached literally hundreds of players at this point, and one of the most common things I see is people getting coaching for the Season of Conquest transition. So if you're like a free-to-play player or a low spender, you probably don't need it. But if you're like a high spender, maybe we'll say like $500+ a month, probably worth your time. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoy the content, please be sure to drop a like on the channel. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Please consider dropping a comment. All these analytics really help us grow and help me bring this awesome content to you guys. If you guys want notifications when you go live, or you want to contact me while I'm not live, go into the Discord in the description below is the #1 place for that. And if you guys want to help support the stream and support the channel, we are currently doing kind of like a fundraiser to try and get new monitors and new cameras and, you know, PC upgrades and stuff like that. And if you guys want to help support that, you can always donate to the Streamlabs link in the description below. And if you guys are watching this, I'm probably also live. Have yourselves a great day, and I will catch y'all later.